Hi, friends. Welcome to the Hey Fundraiser podcast. I'm your host, Mary Peterson, and whether you're a frontline fundraiser, an executive director, a board member, or someone just wanting to make an impact in your community, this podcast is for you. We cover all facets of fundraising, and our main objective is to give you ideas and inspiration to help you raise more money. Join us as we grow, learn, and make an impact together. Hey, fundraiser. We have got a huge topic today, and one that affects many of us as fundraisers. We're going to dig into the number one issue I see with my major gift coaching clients. 100% of them worry about making the ask. I hear about it all day long. I coach them on multiple fronts. And in our group coaching calls, we spend significant amounts of time talking through the mindset, the fears, the objections, and how to handle those objections, and all of the other things that go into securing a major gift. So let's dig into this. I hope it helps you as much as it has helped my major gift coaching clients. So today I want to give you some practical strategies for helping you confidently make major gift asks, even when that pesky fear kicks in. I'm going to put some of my best tips and tricks into this podcast, but if you feel like you need more, or you feel like you need some one-on-one support, or just want to talk to me about your specific fears and situation and how to overcome those fears, please schedule a game plan call with me. I'm going to put the link to schedule in the show notes below. It's just a free 45-minute call, and we'll talk through your unique challenges with asking for major gifts. Okay, let's dig into it. I want to start with the fear of rejection because it's real. When I started as a major gift officer, I would think, all these things would go through my mind. I would think, how am I going to ask this person for a gift? What if it ruins my relationship with them? What if it ruins their relationship with the organization that I work for? What if they get mad at me? What if they just say no? What am I going to do? How am I going to handle that? And how absolutely awkward and cringe-tacular is that situation going to be? The internal monologue was incessant. The fear was valid, and the only time that internal monologue actually shut down was after two things happened. First, I got my first no, and you know what? I survived. I'd love to tell you about that dumpster fire of a solicitation, but that is a whole nother podcast. My relationship with that prospect remained intact. She still cared deeply about the organization that I worked for. She still took my calls and visits, and she ultimately ended up making a $25,000 gift, which is what I had originally asked for. It kind of ended up being a timing situation. But the takeaway here is the world didn't end that day when she turned me down. Was there some embarrassment on my part? Yes. But again, it was only in my mind. She was lovely and graceful. And like I said, it just kind of ended up to being a timing issue. So I understand the fear. I have sat in the seat. I totally get it. And I understand when my coaching clients tell me that they don't want to pick up the phone, that they just want to cultivate and then pray to the philanthropy gods that a major gift is just going to arrive at their office one day. By the way, that does not happen. So yes, the fear can be debilitating, but here are some tips and tricks to get you past that fear and build your confidence. The first is to really think about your mindset. Most people think that asking for a gift is a withdrawal from the emotional bank account. It is not. We have to change that thinking. You're actually making a deposit. You are offering your prospect an opportunity to help change the world and realize their philanthropic vision. In fact, your organization might be the only one that can help them accomplish that. Believe me, it is a deposit. I promise you, it is not a withdrawal. The other mindset that's really prevalent in our culture is talking about money. It is very taboo. We view financial matters as super private, and discussing money can cause friction or tension or comparisons, and that just puts us in weird space. And when I hear people talking about money, or I am talking with money about somebody, I feel like I actually hear my mother's voice saying things like inappropriate, impolite, like this is sensitive subject. But here's my take. You're not asking your prospect about their wealth. You're not asking them how much money they make each year. You're not asking them how they invest their assets. You're not asking them how much they paid for their home. I mean, those are the awkward, cringeworthy questions. You're asking them for an investment in a better world. They can work out the finances and how they're going to fund the gift. That's their business. Once you get past that asking for a gift is a bad thing, whether it's going to hurt the relationship, make a withdrawal from the emotional bank account, or be impolite because it has to do with money, you're getting closer to being the fierce major gift officer that I know you are. So we've covered a couple of the mindset shifts. Now I want to dig into cultivation tactics. You need to prepare your prospect for the ask. And this is done during multiple cultivation visits. And it doesn't have to be a visit, it could be a phone call, an email, a visit. Like it's usually a whole smattering of these things. Before you ask for a gift, you need to know several things about this prospect. You need to know why they care about your organization and its mission. You need to know what program and project gets them most excited. You also need to know what their vision is for a better world and then kind of match that vision to a specific program or project that you've got going on at your organization. You need to know their favorite memory with your organization. You need to know if your organization is in their top 3 charities. Like all of these pieces of knowledge is going to equip you to make the most compelling, personalized ask. And it's going to make it easy for them to say yes. And that is what you want. These conversations are deep and meaningful, and they're just going to happen over time. It's usually a very natural, organic thing. If you are genuinely interested in making a connection with this prospect, then you're going to share things, and that is beautiful. These conversations also develop trust between you and the prospect. That trust will serve you well when you go and ask for a gift. I'm actually going to link a free download in the show notes of the 15 questions to ask during cultivation. It really took me probably a decade to hone these cultivation questions, and they're the ones that have served me the best and helped me raise a ton of money. Now, the answers to these questions will give you the roadmap for building and deepening the relationship and get you closer to the ask. Another issue that comes up with solicitation, and I get this question every single day, how do I know it's time to ask for a major gift? Well, the answer is very easy. When you've received permission to ask for the gift, that's when you know it's time. I strongly believe in permission-based fundraising where you agree to next steps with your prospect at every meeting, on every call, in every conversation, and in every touch point. Here's what I mean by permission-based fundraising. Before you end any phone call or meeting or email, you ask about next steps. So, for example, Whitney, this coffee date has been so much fun. Would it be okay for me to call you next week and set up a tour of our new facility? Right? You're keeping the ball in your court, but you're also agreeing to next steps so they know what's coming. Another example might be, George, this phone call was such a day maker. Could I give you a call in a couple weeks and set up lunch? Or another example would be, Cheryl, the next time we meet, I'd like to talk to you about a gift to support the cardiac expansion. Could I call you next week to get it set up? The beautiful thing about these questions is, and about permission-based fundraising, is that you're building and agreeing to next steps together at every step. Everyone is on the same page. There's no confusion. And when you actually go to ask for a gift, it's not going to be a surprise. Having it be a surprise is never a good thing. And that's actually what happened in my very first solicitation, was that she didn't know I was going to ask for a gift. I mean, there were other things, but permission-based fundraising is the way. So we've talked about mindset shifts. We've talked about a couple cultivation tactics to get you closer to the solicitation. And now you know when it's time to make the ask, when you've gotten permission, by the way. Now let's turn our sights to the elephant in the room. What if you ask for a gift and the person says no? First of all, if you've done all the things we've already discussed, your chances of getting a no are quite slim. You understand what makes the donor tick and what's important to them. You've built a sense of trust. You're going to match your program to the change they want to make in the world. They knew an ask was coming and agreed to the meeting, which is perfect. However, if you get in the room, you make the ask, and the prospect is kind of like teetering or non-committal, there are a few questions that you can keep in your back pocket. And these questions should be framed as much as possible as open-ended questions that a prospect can't just say yes or no to. Like they have to explain themselves. Okay, the first example, and I'm going to give you three, but these are in really no order. The first example is to inquire if the program or project that you've just pitched them is the project that speaks most closely to their heart. So you could say something like, Tim, I know we've spent a lot of time talking about enhancements to our after school program. Is this still the program that you care most about, or is there another area of our organization that you would like to support? This is going to help you understand if you're asking for the right program or project. And it's also going to help you understand what is having your prospect pause, like what is making them not commit. So that's one question to keep in your back pocket. Another example is to inquire about the timing and the amount of the gift. It might be phrased something like this. Mrs. Rodriguez, I thought 25,000 to 35,000 was a good range based on your past giving and your passion for the new garden at the church. Is my thinking correct? Now, I know that's a yes or no question, but Mrs. Rodriguez is going to answer like, yes, or yes, my thinking is correct, but, and she'll fill in the blanks. But what you're looking here is to get them talking. They're teetering, they haven't committed to anything, and you're just trying to sleuth out why is that. Another way you could phrase like, is it timing or is it the amount, is to say something like, Mrs. Rodriguez, we often have donors pledge their major gift over 2 to 3 years. Is that something that would help you to spread out over the next couple of years? That's a very gentle way to ask about the amount, but to also just throw in an option because she might be thinking, oh, I probably could do this over 3 years. That'd be quite easy. The third way to understand why the prospect isn't committing is to ask if there's someone else they'd like to chat with. You might say something like, Dale and Tracy, I know you are dear friends with our board chair, David. Would it be helpful for me to schedule a meeting with you, me, and him to talk through this gift? What you're really getting at is, am I the right person to be asking for this gift? And if it's a no, I'm not the right person, that is okay, but you should still be in the room when the right person does ask for that gift. Another way to say it would be, Dale and Tracy, I understand you might have some more questions about the engineering program at the university. Would it be helpful to have lunch with Holly, who is our program expert, so you can ask more questions that will help you make your decision? Most likely they're going to say yes. But again, this is really about understanding who is the right person to ask for this gift. So just to kind of recap here, because I could have a whole course on these three questions. But first, you're trying to align the program. Am I asking for the right thing here? Second is the amount and the timing. Like, am I in the right range? Does this person need to pledge? How can I get them closer to the gift? And then the third thing you're asking in a roundabout way is, am I the right person to be asking for this gift and who can help me secure it? My hope is that these questions will serve you well when your prospect is kind of teetering. I have used these questions hundreds of times, and it has helped me understand what the hangups were and how to remedy them. These questions, seriously, have helped me close millions of dollars, so please use them. They're also going to help take your fear away. These questions should completely shut down that nagging fear of being turned down because now you know how to handle objections. You can ask the right questions to get the prospect talking and then react to whatever is happening. Fundraiser, I hope you found today's podcast helpful. Don't forget to download the 15 questions to ask during cultivation. I'm just going to link those down in the show notes. And if you want to chat with me about major gift solicitation, book your free game plan call. The link is below. Thanks, Fundraiser. Have a great week. Hey, Fundraiser. Thanks so much for being here today. Did you know that we create a special page for each episode that contains helpful links, episode highlights, standout quotes, and freebies? Check it out in today's podcast description. If you loved what you heard today, would you kindly give us a rating and review? It really helps other fundraising professionals find our Hey Fundraiser community. I'm Mary Peterson, and thank you for listening.